Are live. Happy Monday.
Monday.
Happy Monday. We are live and we're back here talking a little bit about Airbnbs, talking about marriage. What else are we talking about?
Money.
Honey. We're talking about health, your wealth, personal fulfillment, all of it.
Let's do it.
You ready for it?
Ready.
Let's do this thing. Okay. So something really cool that we do, I think it's really cool. Well, I guess we'll find out if it's cool or not. Is we actually list our home on Airbnb while we're gone.
Our personal home.
Our personal home, the house we live in, the house that our kids live in, the house that we eat in, sleep in, go to the bathroom in. We live in that home, right? And when we're gone, we actually have people who rent that home out. Why would we do such a thing?
That sounds weird. You're going to let strangers sleep in your bed?
It happens, right? It happens. So how did this all come to be? Like, where did this idea originate from, Katie?
I don't remember exactly where the idea originated from.
Well, if you don't remember, they're not going to remember either.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. So I think it was probably a year and a half ago.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, we were getting ready to go to an event down in Utah. And at that time, we already had a couple Airbnbs. And I just had this idea, or maybe you had this idea. One of us had this idea. One of us is a genius.
I thought you remembered.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember the idea. I remember who came up with it. It honestly doesn't matter. But one of us came up with this idea that we should put our home on Airbnb while we're at this trip in Utah. And so we took this idea and we just implemented it.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, it was really easy for us to implement because of why?
We had already had properties on Airbnb. So we understood the logistics of how to make it work. It was literally just plugging it in and making it available for somebody to book.
And so when you went to make this listing on Airbnb, like how did it differ than the listings that we had for our full-time short-term rentals?
Nothing differed other than the description. In the description, first and foremost, I put that this is our primary home. So the individual staying there knows that it's our home. It's not a typical Airbnb, but with it being our primary home, it is fully stocked with anything that you could ever need while you're living.
Like what are some things that
kitchen supplies need? Are awesome. Bathroom supplies are an awesome incentive to book a primary home of somebody's.
So are those things that aren't necessarily normal in other Airbnbs that have like full spices, full condiments?
No.
Full on kitchen accessories, bathroom accessories?
No. Usually there's at least salt and pepper. Sometimes there's some spices and sultries, but other than that, usually you're kind of limited to salt and pepper.
Awesome. And so outside of having all the bathroom supplies and having all the kitchen supplies, like what else makes somebody who's booking our personal home different than they would get from a normal short-term rental?
Yeah. Our cost is slightly less because it's our primary and we just make it so people book it.
Yeah. So cost is one thing. So it makes it more affordable, right? Because it's not a full-time Airbnb. What else? What are some of the actual like things inside the house, like the look and feel of it that is different?
It's our home.
Yeah.
There's clothes in there. There's
clothes in there.
Toys in there. There's kids' toys in there.
Yeah. And how do people respond to clothes and toys and food being left in the fridge that is ours?
They have never said anything.
Do they even care?
No, they don't. We do a really good job of kind of putting, most common, hide your underwear in a drawer, put your clothes in the closet. But other than that, we live pretty simplistically. So it's not like there's stuff all over our house. But we put our stuff away. We put it behind. We don't even have cabinet doors by any means. We have a curtain that we close. And behind the curtain is all of our clothes. Nobody has said anything about our clothes or our food being there.
So the people don't care, right? People don't care about our clothes. They don't care about our food. What about pictures? Do we have any pictures on the wall?
That's a good question. No, we don't have any family pictures because we like
not a happy family.
We're not a happy family. We don't like each other. No, we love each other very much. And we want other people to be able to experience our house. And maybe it would be weird if you had personal photos all over your house, but no, I don't have personal photos of our family out.
But we used to, right? And when we first got started, what would we do with some of our like more personal stuff?
Yeah, we would just put it in. So we actually have a 3-bedroom home, and one of the bedrooms we listed as a 2-bedroom home. So one of the bedrooms was basically like a storage room for all of our personal stuff while we were gone. You could lock it. We actually didn't lock it. But basically we used it as a storage room that was not used for the guests staying. It just, it housed all of our personal supplies while we were gone.
So that's a key point. So if you notice that, like, we have a 3-bedroom home, but on Airbnb we listed as 2 bedrooms. Say only 2 bedrooms were available. That way we could use a 3rd bedroom as a way to store some of our stuff that we had, and that's what we used to do. Now we open up all 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Right. But if you need that, you can have that as a room, or if you have a garage, or if you have a storage shed. These are all things that we've already maximized as well. If you couldn't tell, we maximize every square inch of space. We are currently in a storage closet, and this will be made into an office.
It looks beautiful. One day we'll turn the camera around. And
you can only see this, but you don't see the rest of it. And I turned this into a nice little office. So we're good at maximizing space. With that being said, so now we took all of our stuff down. What about the people? Like, do they care? Again, like, so we got into it. We don't care about our clothes, our food, our personal belongings. What about like something that's really like, what about like valuables? What about like guns and money and keys to your car? What about your car? Things like that.
Yeah, great question. To be completely transparent, we don't really own a ton of valuable stuff. The stuff that we own that is valuable, we do share with the tenants who come. We just live a simplistic life. So we're
simplistic, but what sort of advice would you give to people who have stuff? Because most people do have stuff. Right?
Yeah,
they have
totally.
stuff. They're valuable
Lock it up.
stuff. Where?
In a safe, in a bedroom that you're not actually going to let the tenants use. Yeah. Anywhere, a storage unit, whatever.
Yeah. So simply just like put your valuable stuff in a place where the people who are coming in can't get access to it. So again, like there's such thing as locks out there. You might have to spend, $5, $10, $20 to get a lock and put a lock on a door or on a storage closet or whatever it may be in order to keep your valuables away from any sort of situation where a tenant might get access to it.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Put it away. Yes.
So put it away. Okay. What about this? Has anybody ever like destroyed our home? Like, have we come home and just been like, oh no, like it's destroyed? Has that ever happened?
So we have, no, it's never happened.
Oh, no. Okay.
No, hard no. Of the tenants that we've had in our personal home, I think we actually come home to a cleaner house than when we leave it. I think they're more respectful because they know it is our primary home. They follow the rules. Not that, the other Airbnbs, the rules are not followed. They absolutely are. But for the most part, it's our primary house and it has never been left so clean. We clean it before we leave. We make sure it's tidy and we walk in and it looks the exact same. Super clean. People are very respectful when it's your primary home.
Yeah. What are some of the nuances that you've noticed that people will do when they stay in our home versus things that you've seen when you're getting ready to clean one of our other short-term rentals? Like, what are some things that you've noticed?
That they do?
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually strip the beds. They actually put their dishes away. We don't have a dishwasher.
PSA out there, if you're staying in short-term rentals, strip the beds. Makes it very, very easy. Makes it very, very nice on the person who's cleaning it. So, side tangent. Go.
Don't make your bed when you leave, at least, because they probably won't change the sheets.
Yeah. If you want to do the next guest a disservice, make the bed like no one's ever slept in it, because then the cleaners will just think that no one ever slept in it. They'll just leave it alone, and then lo and behold, the next person comes in and they're sleeping in your nasty
dead skin.
Oh! And then all of a sudden they open
the bed, please.
So just strip the bed. Anyway, sorry, go for it.
No, I think they actually pick up a little bit better than the other short-term rentals.
We've had people not even stay in our bed before
because we have a nice ass couch.
We have a nice couch, but so people just like, they don't want to stay in our bed. They'll like sleep on the couch.
Yeah. No, they do a much better job of actually respecting the home in general. They're tidy, they're clean. Like I said, we don't have a dishwasher, so they actually put the dishes away. It's written out in the rule book, but it's not like, if people wash the dishes and put them in the drying rack in the other Airbnbs, I'm happy. Most of the time, 90% of the time, they actually put them away as well in our house. Which is a great point you just made there. You talked about a rule book. So you talked about a rule book for our personal home. We also have rule books for our actual short-term rentals. So explain a little bit what a rule book is. Yeah, a rule book is basically what my expectations are of tenants. Honestly, it's changed over time. Anything is better than nothing. So if you want the garbage to be taken out, tell them to take out the garbage when they're done.
Wait. So you're saying that if you actually tell somebody what your rules are, they might actually follow it?
They might. It is not absolutely 100% foolproof, but the chances of them following your rules that are written are a lot better than your rules that are not communicated.
Oh, they're not gonna follow my unwritten, unsaid, uncommunicated rules?
Oh, isn't that frustrating?
Oh, I hate that. That makes me so mad.
You do that to me all the time.
Those are like my preferences. You don't follow my preferences? I have this rule book right here.
You stop projecting your preferences on me.
So great point to be made. Like communicate your rules, right? And tell them this. So this is away from our primary home, but tell them a funny story about what happened with our basement apartment down here and rules of smoking. Will you please tell that story? This is a great story.
So we housed some kids over, not kids, they were young men. They weren't even young. They were old men, contractors over the holidays. So in December, we left for 2 weeks, and the general contractor was housing his contractors while he was gone for the holidays, and they didn't travel home, so they needed a place to stay. So we rented out our basement to them over Christmas. It was an awesome time, awesome guests. They communicated from the time that they moved in to the time that they moved out. We're out of town, and my cleaners go into the basement, and they are like, it reeks of cigarettes in here. And I was like, shoot, we have guests checking in like 2 days. Like, how the heck are we going to de-stink this place? So they were actually moving from one of our 3-bedroom short-term rentals into a studio short-term rental. And I just called the guy and I said, hey, just to be clear, like absolutely no smoking in our facilities. So I just wanted to communicate it with you. I messaged him this on the Airbnb app. He instantly calls me and he's like, ma'am, I am so sorry. It is me. I'm the one that smokes. It was not written in the rule book. I read it. I'm very much a rule follower. Like I'm so sorry. The guys that are staying, they don't smoke. You don't need to worry about it. So I couldn't even like get mad at the guy because it was all my fault because I didn't put it in the rule books. It says no drugs and no partying, but there was absolutely no place where it said no smoking.
And so that goes back to us assuming
that people don't smoke inside anymore.
And just to put a caveat, like, okay, well, yeah, there doesn't say no smoking, but as our culture, like, not to smoke in the house. But culture, what was this guy's culture?
He followed rules.
No, like, was he an American?
Oh no, he was not.
He was not American.
No.
Right. He was a foreign guest, and so like to him, like he didn't understand that's an unimplied rule, I should, or an implied rule that you don't smoke in someone's house. But he was a foreigner.
Yeah.
So again, whose fault was that?
But he was very much a rule follower.
Was that his fault?
No, it was totally my fault.
Our fault. Right. And so I think it's important to, like, the more you communicate your rules, your expectations, the more likely they are to follow them. Okay. There's always people who are rule breakers that are in, you know who you are. You're the rule breakers, right? You're the rule breakers.
And this guy, bless his heart, he was not a rule breaker. He like was so apologetic. He's like, I'll pay for whatever to fix it. Like, I just didn't know that was the rule. And obviously he didn't know that it was the rule because the rule was not there.
Okay. So how hard is it to list your home on Airbnb? And does it cost money? Is there fees involved? Like, how do you even get paid? Like, how does that work?
Great question. Airbnb is an awesome platform. So basically you get on there, you take nice photos of your house and you list it. It is a completely free service. So Airbnb basically does your marketing for you. They put your house in front of eyeballs. Eyeballs are like, ooh, I like this place. I'm going to book it. They book it, let's say for $800, you get paid $650. You never see the 800 number. All you see is what's going to hit your bank account. You attach your routing number and your bank account number to your Airbnb account. And the day that they check in, you get money in the bank.
Is it really that simple?
Yeah, it really is.
So, okay. So once you list it, so walk through the process of listing it. So you talked a little bit about having a description. Like, what else do you have to put on your listing in order to not only get it up there, but also make it effective? Yeah.
So you want to be as transparent as possible. Like, advertise exactly what your property is. So
like
photos,
if you live in it, you should put in there that you live in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Initially, when we first listed our primary home, I actually put that it was our primary home in the last paragraph of like 4 on the description. And we had one individual be like, this is on the review. They were like, just to let everybody else know, this is their primary house. And it's like, well, it was in the description. Now it is the first thing that somebody reads in the description is like, this is our primary home.
So keynote there. It was in the description at the bottom, right? Clearly people don't read all the way to the bottom. That's why there's things, that's like, we all know that. right? And so instead of Katie blaming this person for giving us a moderate review instead of a great review, she decided to take it her own responsibility and put it to the top. So that way it was the first thing people saw. That way there was no question that people didn't know it was our personal home.
Yes.
Right.
And one of the things that they review you on at the very end of their stay is accuracy. So you want to make sure that what you are listing and where they are staying is as accurate to reality as possible. Good pictures, a great description. Oftentimes people who come from larger cities, when they come, we're stationed in Bozeman, Montana. So everywhere in town is safe. But oftentimes our tenants will ask, like, is this a safe neighborhood? Is there parking? You just want to be as detailed as you can to people who are not familiar with your area.
If you're in Montana, you're safe. Okay. Outside of that. Any other states are dangerous. Montana is very safe.
Yeah. So just be as detailed as you can be, and
okay,
great pictures.
So a good description. You know what? You can always reach out to us, and we'll send you a link to our Airbnb, and you can literally just model our description. Keyword model. So you literally can just take all the copy from it. Our copy is amazing, and just change out the words and the little adjectives to fit your property. And like that's a great way to do it, right? So don't just think that you have to create some amazing description. Like you'll see our descriptions, they're amazing.
They're all the exact same, other than
they're all the same.
They're tailored to each property.
That's it. So that's a great little hack on how to write your description. And then pictures. What are some key points or some I don't know, call them tricks or trades, but like how do you take pictures? Like what is the best way to take pictures?
Yeah, good pictures. You want daylight. So our initial pictures for one of our studios, we took the pictures during the nighttime, and it was summer, and they were really dark, so it didn't list very well in the beginning. So we updated our pictures, which brings me to another point: is you should always be updating your pictures, like at least every quarter, if not even more. Just put fresh pictures out there. If it's Christmas time and there's snow outside and you live in a snowy community, like take pictures with snow so people know what they are coming to in the wintertime. If it's summertime and the grass is green, like take a picture when the grass is green. As far as like bedding and stuff, like dress your bed, make it look nice, think about, like, when I take pictures, I think about staging a home for selling it. So how do you want it to look? Like, how do you make it as easy on the eyes as possible? Because on Airbnb, 95% of people probably don't read the description. They probably only look at the pictures. So you're selling your home in the pictures.
And they definitely don't read the whole description.
They definitely don't read the whole description. But they do flip through every single picture.
Yes.
So make sure that your primary picture is like not of the bathroom, right? Like if you want to come stay at my house, like I'm going to show you my beautiful king size bed that's beautifully made, and then my cozy couch, and then the nice kitchen, and then lastly the bathroom.
She just said something really golden right there, and I want to like really illustrate this. Okay, so this is actually how you only you take your pictures, but how you actually list it on Airbnb in the sequence. Okay, because here's what most people do. Most people list it as you walk into the house and you see the kitchen, so they have like 4 or 5 photos of the kitchen, and then they go into the bedroom. They have 4 or 5 pictures of the bedroom. They just keep like making this loop around the house, like as you're walking through it. That is not the way to list your home on Airbnb. Right.
Correct.
So what Katie just said was a golden nugget. Take your best picture. Take the one that just was like it jumps out of people. Like, wow, it's really nice. And it creates the curiosity for them to flip to the next one. So what happens on Airbnb? You basically have 5 pictures that you can see right away. Okay. So you have 5 pictures that pop up. The first one is your stellar one. It could be of your it could be of your bedroom. It could be of the living room. It could be of the bathroom. Like whatever the one is, just like pops, like it sells your home, right? Then after that, you do want a picture of all those things. So you want a picture of your living room, your bathroom, the master bedroom, and
the kitchen.
And the kitchen, right? And outside of those, like those need to be in your top 5. Okay. And then from there, you can start to put in like multiple pictures of a different bedrooms, things like that. But
the pots and pans,
things like that,
the add-ons
exactly.
that you're going to have.
So that's how you actually list it: is get your kitchen in there, put your bathroom in there, put your master bedroom in there, and your living room.
Yeah.
Right. Those got to be in your top 5, and then whatever your 5th one is, make it an amazing picture as well. Right. Whatever other feature you have, maybe you have a pool, maybe you have a hot tub, maybe you have a deck, maybe you have beautiful pictures of the Bridgers or mountain town, whatever it may be. Right. So that's how you actually list pictures on Airbnb. Okay. What else? So now we have our listing description. We have our pictures. What else goes into actually listing your home on Airbnb?
That's pretty much it. Airbnb is going to ask you about taxes.
Ooh, what about amenities? So amenities on there. Is there anything to that? You just put on what you have?
No, you put on what you have.
Okay.
Yeah, it asks you, and it literally has you
Don't
check
lie.
things.
People
Like,
will look.
if you have an ironing board and an iron, put it on there. If you don't have it, don't check it.
Because if you do check it, people will call you out and write it in your reviews.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah. So only put on there minimally what you have. If you are going to get something, it's fine. Still don't check it until it's actually on your property. Yeah.
Okay. And then taxes.
Taxes. So Airbnb actually pays your taxes on your behalf, which is awesome. You just have to know the percentage that your state it makes mandatory. So just tell them what percentage of taxes you want them to collect on your behalf, and then they actually pay them on your behalf, which is awesome. So the money that hits your bank account is 100% your money.
It's free money, but aside from your taxes, you have to pay on your income, right? Outside of that, it's free cash flow, homie, which makes it really nice, makes it really simple and easy. So that's why I said anyone can do this, because if you have a home that you own, you can do this. Katie, this is a great point. If you have a home that you rent, can you do this?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. So you don't actually even have to own your home in order to do this.
No.
Weird, right? So think about that. So it doesn't matter where you go, you can always do this, right?
What if I have roommates that they're not leaving town?
Well, then you probably have to ask them. But I mean, they're essentially your living, they're your living tenant already, right?
Yeah.
Like they're paying you all the time, so you wouldn't have to.
You get there, okay? You can rent your room out on Airbnb.
You can even rent your room out on Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right, as a suite, if you have your own private bathroom, or they could share, whatever it may be. Okay, so outside of listing your home on Airbnb, what other things do people need to know about? Oh, I'll answer my own question. What if you have rules around not being able to rent your home on Airbnb? Then what? Like what about your HOA? What about your city regulations? Like, how does that play a factor when you're renting out your personal home?
That's a really good question. I would say I'm a rule follower, so follow your rules. Follow the rules of the HOA. Follow the rules of your subdivision. Yeah.
Pretty off on that one, huh?
You did.
You weren't expecting that one. So these are some things that you got to understand, is that as much as like you just want to go do it, you got to understand what the rules are, right? And so certain HOAs, certain covenants say you can't rent your home out. Maybe they're against short-term rentaling based on if you're owner occupied or not. And so these are rules that you need to check in to make sure that you do it. That way, if it's part of something you're going to do consistently, like just know what your rules are, right? Yes. With that being said, what is the worst thing that could happen if you actually rent your home on Airbnb and it's against your rules? Like, what's going to happen? What's actually going to happen?
Someone's going to come and slap your wrist.
They're going to slap your wrist, right? They're like you're not going to get fined. You're not going to go to jail. You're not going to get kicked out of your home. You're not going to lose your property. So ultimately,
they're just going to tell you that you can't do it again.
Yeah. Especially if it's your primary home. It's obviously not part of your business plan, I'm sure of it, to rent your home on Airbnb. So if you're not quite sure, like, again, you can push the rules, push the envelope, and the worst thing that's going to happen is that they're literally just going to slap your wrist. So
why would you go through all of this hassle and rent your house on Airbnb while you're gone?
Yeah. Well, think about all the places you can go if you could literally travel for free. Like, where would you go if you could travel for free? Like, if you do not have, like, let's say you're going to go to Texas, or you're going to go to California, you're going to go to Utah, you're going to go to Arizona. Like, what if the place you were staying at was for free? Like, would that change how many times you could travel every single year?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's essentially what this does, is it allows you to take a cost that you're going to have when you travel, a place to stay, and you could supplement that cost by renting out your home, which again, nobody's staying in it. And Katie, what happened 2 weeks ago? We went to our daughter's swim meet in Billings, Montana. Okay. What happened?
We rented our house out.
We did. And we also rented an Airbnb in Billings, Montana.
Yeah.
How much did the Airbnb cost in Billings, Montana?
It was bizarre. I think it was $217.
And how much did our house rent out for?
$216.
It was literally a wash, right? And so when you're able to get that expense paid for, it just changes maybe how frequently you can travel or where you can travel.
What if it doesn't pay for the entire trip?
Well, by golly, you were going to pay for the dang trip anyway, right? So just think of it as bonus, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what if it just pays for some of the trip? Would that at least help?
Yes.
And so it's just a way for you to utilize the resources you already have. If it's something that becomes an issue where you're like, I'm not sure if I can take this trip, I'm not sure if I can afford it. One of the words I hate the most is I don't think I can afford it.
How can you afford it?
How can I afford it? What resources do I have access to? Right? How do I make this make sense? Okay. And this goes into our next point here is that we're getting ready to leave for a trip on Wednesday. Right? Are we putting our home on Airbnb?
Unfortunately, no.
So if you guys couldn't hear that noise right there, we actually have construction going on in our upstairs, right? We're remodeling our kitchen. That way we can like jack our prices up on Airbnb. No, not really. That's not why we're doing it.
I just want a nice kitchen.
I just want a nice kitchen. So that being said, this time we're actually not, because we have construction going upstairs. So if you do hear construction, that's why, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe we should. Maybe we should just rent a bedroom and a bathroom. We'll say no kitchen.
Should we do that? If anyone's on here listening, like, should we just try to rent our home on Airbnb without? That'd be great. There's no kitchen in this house right now.
Post a picture of this. There's absolutely no kitchen. It's destroyed.
That's funny. That would be funny. No, we can't do that because our contractor has his tools in here. We're not going to risk that for him. But anyway, okay. And so this goes back to the point of you can get your home paid for that you're going on trip to by your home. Let's start to use that same concept. What about cars? What about flights? Like, how do we get those things paid for? Like, if we obviously those are the big expenses when it comes to traveling. We have our place we're staying, which now we have covered because we're going to put our home on Airbnb. But what about our car rental where we go somebody else? What about our flights to get there? Like, how do we get those things paid for?
Yeah, we actually have a few vehicles that we tour out while we're gone.
Oh.
Which works out great.
What is Turo?
Turo is basically Airbnb of cars.
Yeah. Wait, so do you rent out your cars to the tenants who come in your Airbnb?
No.
Okay. So keep going.
Two completely separate services, two completely separate people, prospects, potentially. Could be the same person if they both book. But no, we put our cars on Turo and we list them at a price that makes sense for us. And they book occasionally when we're gone, occasionally when we're here. And we just have another vehicle to drive. So we always have our vehicles. And that offsets travel expenses when we get to our destination. So basically commuting, whether we rent a car, whether we Turo, or whether we Uber while we're there, whatever it is, it just offsets that price a little bit.
Yeah. So that's a great option. And then what about flights? Like, how does someone get free flights?
Yeah, free flights are a huge benefit to multiple credit cards. So if you have a lot of expenses and you put it all on a credit card and then you pay it off every month, you accumulate points, and all of those points can be used to purchase flights for free.
Yeah. So if you don't utilize credit cards for the right reasons, which is to accumulate points, so you're going to spend the money anyway, as long as you are responsible and you pay your payment every single month, then you literally just have free money by buying things, right? And if you have businesses, so if you're watching this and you're a business owner, like, you should have a really good card with really good points, because you probably have lots of expenses. Like, we have tons of expenses, right?
Yeah.
And they all go through a credit card, which gives us lots of points. So we're able to travel with these points basically for free. Like, sometimes we don't because we have a family, but if it's just you or just one, like if it's just me and Katie, we could definitely travel pretty easy. But we have those pesky kids. Those pesky kids are really expensive. They don't tell you that when you have them. They tell you that they're just so cuddly and they're so beautiful,
but they're
and they
so
give you
worth
love,
it.
and they're liabilities, right?
Yeah, they're going to be assets one day, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, every single day we train them to become an asset, and then one day they will build this empire and take to the next level. So yeah. So flights, points, right? That's how you get your flights paid for. And if you do it right, you can literally travel wherever you want for free, because credit cards will pay for your flights. You can get your travel expenses paid for by doing Turo, or having some sort of service where you can use your car while you're gone. And then, of course, put your home on Airbnb, and then think about all the places you could travel if you didn't have any of those expenses.
Yeah.
Like, all the cool places. And again, that's just the type of thinking. There's like, those are just the things we've done. I'm sure that you have things in your life right now that you're like, oh, I could do this. I could rent this thing out. Like, you have things that you use that somebody else would also use if you were just willing to share that thing. Right. And so, which goes back into one of our most important points, is that me and Katie were talking about this before. It's like, it's not even much about as much about the money as is about this idea of abundance and this idea of sharing. And we both have used this as an opportunity for us to let go of our attachment to things, right? Our attachment to a home, our attachment to cars, our attachment to like things on the walls. When you start to realize that those things don't have like their value is super small in comparison to experiences and being able to go places with your family and going and doing certain things, trips, all of a sudden it becomes a really easy decision to be like, yes, I'm willing to share my car. I'm willing to share my home. I'm willing to share these other resources that I currently have with somebody else that allows me to make it make sense for me to go with my family or to go on trips and to create these experiences, which are the things that really matter in life.
Yes, 100%. It has detached us from accumulating things as well. It's been great.
And so if it does nothing else for you, like use it as a great opportunity for you just to learn how to detach yourself from things. So here's a great example. Let's go back to Turo, right? This thing is not about Turo. But so last summer, I got a 2020 Corvette, right? Brand new Corvette, beautiful, C8 red, it's gorgeous, right? And I decided to put it on Turo, not because we needed the money, not because we're going on a trip in this instance. I just wanted to do it because so many people were just like, I would never do that. I would never
never let anybody else drive.
I would never let anyone drive my car, right? Every single person I would talk to said that. There was not one person who was like, oh, that's a great idea. Not one person.
Not one person.
And I did it. For that very reason, was just to like detach myself from something like, it's just a car, right? I don't care if it's $100,000. I don't care if it's the nicest car on the planet. Like the goal for me was to share that mainly for me. Like it was cool. I like watched other people get in the car. And
the one person that did compliment you was actually the individual who drove it for the weekend. He was here on a work trip. He parked it at like the Hilton Inn or something. And he was like, this is insane.
Yeah. And, but it was honestly, it was just for me. It was for me to get over this idea of attachment, right? And so anyway, that's another lesson that can be learned in this whole process. Aside from just making money, right? That's cool. Also for you to be able to travel for free, that's cool. But another piece of that equation would be as well, just to understand that like the less weight that you give things, just the more clear you can get on what is important to you. Right.
Yes. And the first time that you hear this, you're probably like, I could never do that. I will never do that.
You're an idiot,
you guys
Logan.
are freaking crazy.
Totally fair.
And then the more that you hear it and the more that you watch people do it around you, you're like, wait a second. Maybe I could do that. Let's try that.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a couple questions. We're going to finish out here in a couple minutes here. We got a couple questions here. Okay. So Adam Diaz says, is it harder to book because of the possible date restrictions?
No, it is not harder to book. Honestly, sometimes I don't know that we're leaving town until Wednesday and we leave on a Friday and I put it live on Wednesday and oftentimes it books. Now, granted, we are in a heavy market of people traveling here. Like we're very touristy and we have ski hills close to us. Summertime, we have fly fishing and all that, but we have not had an issue booking our place. So
explain to them how you have it set up, Katie.
Yeah, so I have all of our dates. When you put it on Airbnb, you can basically list it as something that is completely open or completely blocked off. And we list our primary home as completely blocked off. And then I go and make dates available that I know that we're going to be out of town.
Yeah. So basically it stays blocked out the whole time. And then when Kay's like, hey, should we put it up when we go on this trip? And then we say yes, no, maybe so. Then she literally unblocks it. And sometimes it literally gets booked the very next day. Sometimes, depending on how far it is out, it'll get booked a day or two before. Right.
Yeah. Every time, I mean, knock on wood, we've been very lucky, but every time that we've ever listed it, it has booked.
100%. And again, why is that?
Because we are
because we're in a place people travel to. That's one reason. But also, what about the pricing?
And it's super competitive. So if I want our house booked to offset any expenses, we actually drop our prices a little bit compared to other normal Airbnbs that are booked during that time. So when eyeballs look at it, they're like, obviously, we're going to take this house that's a little bit less expensive.
It's like the best deal.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then Adam has another question here. Like, is there anything else you do to let people know it's your primary home other than just the description?
No, just in the description, the first thing in the description. I think it's listed as like cozy home in Bozeman, Montana, but there's a paragraph under it that says like, explain your house. And in the first paragraph, I say, this is our primary home. You know, all of our personal belongings are here. Treat it as if it were your own.
Yep.
Great question.
Yeah. And honestly, when you walk in, you pretty much know like somebody lives here. Like we definitely do a good job of like cleaning up and picking up. Again, we don't have a ton of stuff, but ultimately like you can tell right away that somebody lives there.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, Katie. Yeah. Any other nuggets? Any last words of wisdom of why someone flips their home on Airbnb, or just any experience that you have?
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway is just challenge yourself to think a little bit differently. Not from like, I can't do that, to like, how could I do that?
Yeah.
Just change the frame of the question.
This is a great situation that you have a huge benefit on the back end to actually make money, right? Everyone likes to make money, but really I think the purpose of this exercise of this is what Katie just said right there, right? It's to change that. Like, I could never do that. I could never let someone live in my home. I could never let someone rent my car. I could never, right? To how could I justify that? How could I sell myself out? How could it make sense for someone to live in my house? And when you're able to just ask that question, that thought process, will change your life. Because the reason why you are where you are is because of like, you put this wall right here and you won't let yourself go above it. But as soon as you allow yourself to like raise the ceiling up, guess what happens? Right?
Up we go.
Whoop, you can't even see me, right? I just went out of the picture, but you're the only thing that holds yourself back. And so this is a great example for how you can prove to yourself that you literally can just change by changing this right here.
And the momentum that you gain after one decision like that is incredible. You end up, the fulfillment that you get after you like contribute to somebody else's life and them experiencing wherever you live, your car, your whatever you're giving to them. It's contagious. Like, it's like, how do I do more of this? How can I contribute to the world in more ways? And you gain momentum and you want to even give more and more and more.
Every night I read to our 2-year-old, right? We read Bernstein Bears. We read, what else do we read?
The little golden books.
Yeah. All the Disney books as well. Dr. Seuss sometimes. And you know how many stories are geared towards giving and sharing, right? And us as parents, we're like, yes, you need to give. Layden, you should totally give. You should give. And then as adults, everyone's just like, what can I get? What can I get? And we become a bunch of takers.
Yeah.
We forget the fundamental principles of life and what truly is life. And life is to give, right? Life is to serve. And so that's why something like this is so valuable, because you do serve the community, you serve visitors coming in, and you serve yourself, you serve your family.
Yeah, it truly is a win-win-win. So
huge wins all around. So
be a winner.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys listening here today. Appreciate y'all so much. My name is Logan Manzanares.
Katie Manzanares.
And we are out.
Bye.
Bye.